Okay, imagine this for a second. You're at a pretty important dinner party. The host is powerful, respected, everything's going smoothly, polite conversation, good food.
Mm-hmm. The usual kind of formal affair.
Exactly. Then someone unexpected arrives, and not just anyone, but someone who completely flips the script, who just breaks all the social rules right there.
Okay.
Yeah. Falls down weeping, this incredibly intense act of devotion in front of everyone. It makes you wonder, what on earth could cause that? And what does it teach us, about judging people, about forgiveness, about love?
That's quite the image. Definitely draws you in.
Right. Well, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into a really powerful set of readings. These are the lectionary texts for September 18th, 2025.
Yeah, these structured readings often bring together different parts of the Bible in interesting ways.
They do. And our mission today is basically to unpack this ancient story that honestly still feels incredibly relevant. We're looking for insights into things like humility, forgiveness, how it changes things, and maybe how we show gratitude.
So we'll be looking mainly at that story, often called the penitent woman and the Pharisee. It pulls together texts like 1 Timothy, Psalm 111, a bit from Matthew, and of course the main narrative from Luke 7.
And we've also got some reflections from a piece called The Transforming Power of Forgiveness and Love to help shed light on the themes.
Right, so we're going to see how these texts might challenge our assumptions, maybe offer a shortcut to understanding some pretty deep spiritual truths.
Sounds good. So let's start by laying some groundwork. Foundational ideas. There's this bit from 1 Timothy chapter 4, verses 12 to 16.
Okay.
It's pretty direct advice, isn't it? Let no one have contempt for your youth, but set an example in speech, conduct, love, faith, and purity. That seems foundational.
It really is. It's a call to integrity, isn't it? It's saying your age doesn't matter as much as your example.
Yeah, and it goes on about diligence. Attend to yourself and to your teaching. Persevere.
And what strikes me there is how it links outward conduct, your actions, directly to your inner commitment. It's not just putting on a show. It's about real personal growth, making your progress evident to everyone. And the goal is pretty high stakes, saving both yourself and those who listen to you.
That sets a standard, definitely. A sense of responsibility for how we live.
Absolutely. It's about impact.
And then we have Psalm 111, verses 7, 8, 9, 10. It's got this powerful line, how great are the works of the Lord.
Mm-hmm. A sense of awe.
And it talks about these works being faithful and just, precepts being reliable forever and ever, wrought in truth and equity. It sounds so solid. Unchanging.
Yeah, it emphasizes the reliability, the trustworthiness of divine wisdom. And connecting that back, the psalm says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
Okay, what does fear mean there, really? Is it being scared?
Well, it's often understood more as profound reverence, awe, respect, recognizing God's ways as the foundation for true understanding. It's saying that living by these truths, this divine wisdom, that's what leads to real prudence, real wisdom.
So it grounds everything, sets the stage.
Exactly. It gives us a framework for understanding what's truly important beyond just, social customs.
Okay, so with that framework, conduct, wisdom, reverence, let's get into the main event, Luke chapter 7. It starts simply. Jesus is invited to dinner by a Pharisee named Simon.
Right. And just to pause there, a Pharisee inviting Jesus, that's already interesting. Pharisees were sort of the religious conservatives of the day, strict about the law.
So this wasn't just a casual meal. It would have been significant.
Oh, definitely. There'd be expectations, rules of hospitality, proper greetings, who sits where. It's a setting where appearances and following customs really mattered. Think respectability, careful observation.
You'd expect certain things, like water for washing feet, a welcoming kiss, maybe some oil for the head.
Precisely. Standard courtesies in that culture, showing respect for your guest, a very controlled environment.
Okay. And into this setting walks, as the text says, a sinful woman in the city. No beating around the bush there. Her reputation was known.
Yeah, the text is blunt. She's an outsider in this respectable company.
And she brings this alabaster flask of ointment. That sounds expensive.
It likely was. Alabaster was used for costly perfumes. It signifies a valuable offering.
And her actions. She stands behind him, starts weeping, washes his feet with her tears, dries them with her hair, kisses his feet, and then anoints them with this expensive ointment. I mean, that's incredibly intimate and public.
It's absolutely stunning and completely countercultural. For a woman to let down her hair in public was scandalous. To touch a man, especially a rabbi, in this way, unthinkable.
So this wasn't just humble, it was Shocking.
Profoundly so. It breaks every social boundary. She's
Right.
pouring out everything, her tears, her reputation, her most valuable possession. It's raw, unfiltered devotion and probably repentance. The other guests must have been horrified.
And Simon, the host, his internal reaction is immediate. If this man were a prophet, he thinks, he would know who and what sort of woman this is, that she is a sinner.
Right. See, his focus is entirely on her label, her status.
He's judging her based on her past, and he's judging Jesus for allowing it. He thinks Jesus lacks discernment.
Exactly. It's all about external categories, ritual purity, who is clean, who is unclean. He can't see beyond the label sinner.
Which is a pretty stark contrast to how Jesus operates usually.
Completely. Simon's stuck in the social box while Jesus is about to break it wide open. Simon's worried about contamination. Jesus is about to talk about transformation.
So Jesus knows Simon's thoughts. Of course he does. And he says, Simon, I have something to say to you.
You can imagine the tension there.
Definitely. And he tells this quick parable. 2 people owe money. One owes a huge amount, 500 days' wages. The other, 50. Pocket change in comparison.
Okay.
Neither can pay. The lender cancels both debts, forgives them completely. Then Jesus asks Simon, which one will love him more?
It's such a clever move. A simple story, relatable, debt, forgiveness. Simon has to answer, right.
Yeah, and Simon gets it right, logically. The one, I suppose, for whom he canceled the larger debt.
And that's the setup. Jesus uses Simon's own logic, his own answer to make the point, because now the comparison becomes unavoidable.
This is where he gets really direct. Jesus turns toward the woman, looks at her, but speaks to Simon.
The contrast.
Do you see this woman? He asks Simon, then lays it out. I entered your house. You gave me no water for my feet, basic hospitality missed, but she washed them with her tears and wiped them with her hair.
Ouch, that's gotta sting.
You gave me no kiss, another standard greeting. But from the time I came in, she has not stopped kissing my feet.
The contrast is just devastating.
You did not anoint my head with oil, a sign of honor, but she has anointed my feet with ointment. He contrasts Simon's lack of even basic courtesy with her extravagant, over-the-top devotion.
It completely reframes the situation. Simon was judging her actions as inappropriate, while Jesus points out Simon's inaction was also inappropriate, especially for a host.
And then the punchline. So I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, hence she has shown great love. But the one to whom little is forgiven loves little.
Wow, so her great love isn't earning forgiveness. It's the result of realizing she's been forgiven much.
Exactly. And the implication for Simon is uncomfortable. He sees himself as righteous, needing little forgiveness, and so perhaps showing little love.
It turns the whole value system upside down. It's not about outward righteousness. It's about recognizing your need and responding to grace. This woman, the sinner, understands grace far better than the righteous Pharisee.
Which must connect back to that idea in Psalm 111, that true wisdom starts with reverence, with understanding our place before the divine. Simon lacked that, maybe.
It seems so. He lacked the humility to see his own need, and therefore couldn't appreciate the depth of her response.
Then Jesus speaks directly to the woman. Your sins are forgiven. Just says it publicly.
Imagine hearing those words after everything. The relief, the release.
But for the others at the table, shocking. They start murmuring, who is this who even forgives sins?
Right. Because forgiving sins was understood as something only God could do. This is a huge claim Jesus is implicitly making by saying that.
But Jesus doesn't get into a debate with them about his authority right then. Instead, he gives the woman this final, powerful assurance.
Yeah.
He tells her, your faith has saved you. Go in peace.
So it's her faith that's key. Her actions flowed from her faith, her belief in his capacity to forgive, perhaps.
That seems to be the connection. Her faith led her to this act of devotion, and through that faith, she finds salvation and peace. Not just forgiveness, but wholeness, restoration.
Beautiful. It really brings that passage from Psalm 103 to life, doesn't it? The Lord is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love.
It really does. Her story is like a living example of that verse, tears and ointment instead of just words on a page.
Absolutely. And you see that idea in the reflection piece, too, the transforming power of forgiveness. Her humility, her contrite heart, that's what opened the door. She wasn't relying on her own goodness because she knew she didn't have any by society standards. She threw herself entirely on mercy.
Which is the opposite of Simon's self-righteousness.
Exactly. It's about trusting in grace, not in rule-keeping.
And what about that verse from Matthew? Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. How does that fit in here?
Oh, perfectly.
Yeah.
Think about the burden this woman was carrying, the shame, the judgment, the weight of her past, her reputation.
Yeah, definitely laboring and burdened.
And what does she do? She comes to Jesus, literally walks up to him, pushing past the social barriers, her tears, her actions. It's all part of her coming to him.
And finds rest, finds peace.
Finds peace. Exactly. It underscores that idea that true love is shown in the way we honor him with our lives. Her actions were her honoring him, her way of accepting that invitation.
Okay, so let's pull this together. What's the big takeaway for us listening today? It feels like there's a direct link being drawn between how much forgiveness we realize we've received and how much love and gratitude we can actually show.
I think that's right at the heart of it. It prompts that question, doesn't it? How do we express our love, our gratitude for the forgiveness we hope for or have experienced?
Yeah.
It's not about a direct comparison, am I Simon, am I the woman? But understanding the principle. Realizing grace fuels humility, and humility fuels love.
So it's less about grand gestures, maybe, and more about the attitude behind them.
I think so. The reflection asks that really practical question. What act of love or mercy can I do today to show my gratitude? It brings it down to earth. How does that internal realization translate into outward action, into how we treat others?
Right. So today's deep dive, we've really looked at a story that turns expectations on their head. It challenges that sort of surface-level piety and lifts up genuine, heartfelt devotion.
Yeah. We saw how humility is kind of the key that unlocks forgiveness, and how our love seems to grow in proportion to understanding the mercy we've been shown.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it? That compassion, grace, they really can change everything. How we see ourselves, how we interact with everyone around us.
Definitely. Which leads to maybe a final thought to chew on. If we think about Simon and the woman and Jesus' parable about debt, how does acknowledging our own debts, our own failings, mistakes, the ways we fall short, whether big or small, how does acknowledging that honestly change our ability to show real love and compassion to other people in our everyday lives?
So recognizing our own need makes us more generous.
Maybe. Think about it. How aware are we of the grace we need or receive? And does that awareness directly impact how patient, how forgiving, how hospitable we are to the people around us? It's worth considering the subtle ways we might be a bit like Simon sometimes, and where the opportunities are to act more like the woman with gratitude, humility, and maybe a bit more vulnerability.